Hey, what's up guys? Today we're talking about a new plugin that Teletone Audio has recently released, and this is actually a guitar plugin, which I am super happy that they've finally done. I know a lot of people in the comments for their other plugin videos have been clamoring for this to come out for such a long time, and it's something that almost didn't come out according to Jeremy Larson, the lead guy at Teletone Audio. I know it was something that he wasn't really keen would happen, that they would actually do and develop, but you know what? They did it, and I am so happy that they did. Okay, so before I jump in and tell you what Voyager Guitar is all about, I actually just want to play a demo because I know when I watch review videos, I like to hear what you can make with it up front and not be baited down the road to hear what this thing actually sounds like. So I'm just going to play the demo that I made, the track that I started with Voyager Guitar. And in this track, I have 4 instances of Voyager Guitar. I have an intro guitar, a lead part, a lead low part, a rhythm guitar, and then I also have Retrograde Bass, which is another product by Teletone Audio, which is a fantastic bass instrument that went so perfectly with this Voyager Guitar that I had to make a demo track with it. So here, this is my demo using Voyager Guitar and Retrograde Bass. So that is my demo I made with Voyager Guitar, and I love the sound that this thing makes. It's just such a classic guitar sound. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into what Voyager Guitar actually is and cover the details of what this actually includes. So Voyager Guitar is a 1970s Telecaster, and it's tracked through classic analog gear and shaped with modern controls, as you can see within this user interface. It comes with over 100 genre-spanning presets that you can craft your tone with and create different styles. As far as the vintage amp signals that Voyager includes, there's 3 vintage combos. You get a 1962 Gibson GA8T, a 1964 Fender Deluxe, and a 1968 Fender Super Reverb, each one chosen for its color, breakup, and unmistakable voice. As far as the preamps go, you get 2 separate DI signal paths run through a Shadow Hills mono and a vintage Tascam cassette preamp providing a direct tone with character baked in. Pure, punchy, and alive is what it says. Every amp was captured with a Shure SM57 and an AEA R88 ribbon. Blend between the two to dial in presence, warmth, or something in between. And like I said, there's over 100 presets. Jeremy played through on their YouTube channel and gives you a really good idea of all the different styles that are included with this. But one of my favorite things is actually this chord arpeggiator, because it really replicates the strumming patterns that you would be able to play on a real guitar. And I feel like a lot of VSTs out there haven't quite captured this ability. Yes, there are articulations and you can get different fret noises using different keys on the lower octaves, which you can do with this too, but this actually has a built-in chord player where you can actually program these authentic sounds, stops, rest articulations right into your strumming patterns. Whoever came up with this really had such a great idea. It makes it so much quicker, dialing in these sounds that make it authentic without having to use a piano roll or play them in live. And then last but not least, you get 5 ways to play. You got pick sustains, finger sustains, palm mutes, swells, and finger taps. Okay, so this works with the free Contact player, or you can use the full version of Contact. and it is a whopping 30 gigabytes. So definitely make sure you have space on your hard drive to download this. And I can understand why it's such a big plugin. I think it's their biggest plugin to date because the sampling that went into this really makes this guitar sound authentic and quite frankly excellent. Okay, so let's jump back to this demo that I created with Voyager Guitar. And let's take a look at this plugin and break down each instance that I included in this project and what I did with it. Okay, so for the first instance of Voyager Guitar in this demo, I have largely taken advantage of this chord player that I was just talking about in the overview. So if we just take a look at this part and zoom into the actual MIDI for it, you can see that I have this overlapping part, and if I just solo it out here, we can hear what it sounds like. Okay, so that's the intro for this demo, and it's using just the palm mutes articulation. And what I've actually done is I've locked the chord player here from a different preset because I wanted to save the riff that I found in another preset. And so because I was able to lock this, I was able to change the actual sound of it and land on this muted chorus preset, which I thought sounded perfect for an intro part. And like I said, this arpeggiator section is really a genius idea with the chord player because it's allowing me to overlap MIDI data, get like a strumming pattern out of it. But not only that, actually program these authentic rest articulations that you would have if you were actually strumming palm muted and getting these palm stops and chuck noises that you would actually hear on an electric guitar. So I have a stop programmed on this note and then a chuck that's played on the next one so you can hear what it sounds like. So instead of having to like play it in on a lower octave in live, you can actually bake these rest articulations right into your riffs in this chord player. Now, if you want to change it up and put it on a different note, you can always do that too. So if we wanted to take it off of this one and just do like a tap and change this chuck over here, I'm just kind of doing this at random. So if we just do play note and then add it somewhere else, let's just test it on this here. I don't know how this is going to sound, but I'm just really messing with it. So yeah, it honestly doesn't sound the best, but you can customize it and do it however you want. So you can really just remove things, add things, experiment with different riffs that you come up with using these rest articulations and just seeing what you can get out of it. And then along that too, you can also change the actual velocity for each of these strikes. So you can make it crescendo up if you want to. And then we can add some of these stops back into it and just see what it sounds like with the rest articulations. So it is super useful and very easy to dial in a riff using this chord player. It's my favorite part of this entire plugin, I gotta say. Now, if you dig deeper into the settings, you can actually change this power chord programming by going into the settings. And they have a strum feature here that you can adjust, as well as adjust the individual velocities for your root, fifth, and octave, giving you even more control over the refinement of your strumming patterns and chord progressions. Okay, so that's the intro guitar. Let's move on to the next part here and just zoom back out. This next one is a lead guitar part, and if I solo it here, you'll see that I'm using this new plugin also by Teletone Audio called Tone Architect, and this is a mixing plugin that they also released recently. It's their second newest plugin, and this is such a great mixing device, as well as adding super useful saturation, tone shaping, and compression all in one plugin, helping you really set your sounds into the mix. So if I just show you what this preset sounds like bypass on Voyager Guitar without Tone Architect, I really like this preset inside of Voyager Guitar. It's called Sustain's Midwest Scene 2001, and it really does capture that sound. So here's what it sounds like by itself. Sounds so nice. And then when we add this Tone Architect into it. It adds such a nice overdriven signal to this lead part. So we got that overdriven sound with the harmonics going on. And if we bring it back within the entire mix and see how it actually changes the overall placement of this lead guitar within this track, you can hear what a difference it actually makes, bringing it to life. So this is without Tone Architect in the mix, and then I'll bring it in. So I really honestly like either way, but I just love how that sizzle makes the lead part stand out and come to life on its own. So yeah, that's another plugin by Teletone Audio, Tone Architect. I've also used it on the bass part as well. And I use this preset called Bass Enhance. And if you go into the dropdown, there's a ton of useful presets for mixing and shaping your sound. So they have a whole list of factory presets for Tone Architect for kicks, strings, cymbals, bus presets, snare, bass, keys presets, vocal, synth, toms, guitars, and drum bus, of course. So yeah, a lot of good starting points using Tone Architect, and I just use this bass enhanced preset to really round out my bass part using Retrograde Bass. So if we just play it back here, this is what it sounds like without Tone Architect. And then with. So it just rounds my entire bass part out, lifting it with some saturation. We got some tape saturation going on, but it just kind of lifts the bass to a more rounded level within the entire mix. Okay, and then the last part in this track using Voyager Guitar is the rhythm guitar, and this has no Tone Architect on it. This is just the raw sound. And I'm using the locked in arpeggiator using the chord player function to get this really nice palm muted strumming effect. So I'm going to solo it out. And then all together. Okay, so that is the overview of what I've made with Voyager Guitar, and I am thoroughly impressed with it. But overall, I love this plugin. So as far as all the tone shaping goes, I'm not going to go into that because Jeremy did a long form video that goes through the entire interface of this plugin from the homepage to the settings, giving you a deeper, more granular look at this plugin. I just wanted to highlight what I found super useful and inspiring from it. And that really does come down to this chord player function with the ability to program these rest articulations, not to mention this whole host of presets that are perfect starting points for different songs. Using the 5 different playing styles, we got muted, sustains, swells, taps. There's everything that you need in here to really get started on a rock guitar song, a post-rock guitar song, pop punk, pop. I mean, really anything that you want to create with an electric guitar, you can do it with these starting points inside this plugin. For me, it really achieves that kind of style that I like with more of an indie focus. And it would be great to see them add even more onto this plugin with either patterns or different guitars, because this really does feel like they have zeroed in on what most guitar plugins I feel don't. Okay, so I'll leave a link below if you want to check out either of the plugins that I featured in this video. Definitely take a look. And then Tone Architect actually has a free demo if you want to try it out and see if it is useful for your mixing needs. So you can actually demo that before you buy it, which is pretty cool, on Teletone Audio's website. And then take a look at Voyager Guitar and see if it's something that's going to fit what you want and need. Okay, guys, that's pretty much it. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace.